Wutiani, you're from that community. How many wives do you have?
I've got 2 wives.
And is it important for a man in the community to have more than one wife?
Important because of the honoring from the tribe, the clan, that the man has done over the years through leading a ceremony and important things. So it's an honor.
So do you get more respect the more wives you have?
More respect.
So do you want more than 2 wives?
I would.
How long were you with your first wife before you got the second one?
12 years.
Okay.
12 years, and then Nayari is now coming up 11.
And Nayari, you're the second wife?
Yes.
So how do you feel about the idea of him getting more wives?
I would happy with her. In our culture, she would be my sister.
And what is it like for you as a woman? I mean, do you sometimes disagree with the other wife?
Yeah.
How do you deal with those things?
With his first wife, I used to jealous her.
You used to feel jealous?
Jealous, yeah. Doesn't like to be with her, staying with her.
Would you like to be an only wife? Would you like to be his only wife?
Yes. I would.
You would? Yeah. That's interesting. Is it?
But that's been influenced by white society, you know?
Yeah.
But our society, young society, is based on the culture and
the tradition.
And
And is that tradition changing, or is it staying the same?
It's still the same.
Still the same. It is still a strong culture.
So were you married under tribal law?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So are you married under whitefellas law as well,
No.
to one of your wives? No.
No.
Just under tribal law to both of them?
Young law.
Tony, you grew up in a Christian family in Sierra Leone, and your dad had 2 wives there, is that right? What about family members here? Have they got more than one wife?
There's a few, actually, who have more than one. And not just family members, but also people within that Sierra Leone community that have more than one wife or more than one partner. And it's absolutely accepted within that Sierra Leone community.
Now, these are wives in what sense? Because you can't legally marry more than one person in
That's
Australia.
right, yeah.
So how does it work?
Legally, you can't marry, but there are other recognized forms of marriages. You know, you have traditional weddings, which are absolutely recognized, and then you have the religious reasons. The people who are practicing polygamy, that's an acceptable form of marriage.
What about other people in the room? Do you know of situations where people are in polygamous relationships in Australia? How common? Yes?
Yeah, it's a family friend, and he's got 3 wives, and live in separate residence at all. And he basically, it's like a normal family. He splits his time within 3 of them. Yeah.
Anyone else? No? Yes.
I've got family in Lebanon who's she shares her husband with his other wife. He was married for a long time and they couldn't have kids, so he told his wife that he wishes to have children, and she sought an appropriate wife for him, and they all lived together in one apartment. And the second wife had about 3 children.
So this is very interesting, because a lot of people watching this are going to be very surprised to hear how common these situations are. Yes.
I suppose it's one of the reasons as well, like back home where polygamy is common, it's one of the reasons why people tend to marry more than one wife. Because in instances where, say, the first wife is not able to have a kid, or either they don't have the opportunity for surrogate mom, or, you know, and all, having IVF and all that, so they allow the man to get a second wife and then have kids.
Yes.
I think polygamy causes problems within the family, because I have a friend, he's Syrian background, and his father has 2 wives, so they used to live together, but then there used to be some like arguments and problems within the family, and his father grew more partial towards his first wife, and towards his second wife, who's my friend's mother. He was being abusive and also towards the son, and that had led to a lot of domestic issues.
Do you think that's a problem of polygamy, though, or just a problem that would happen anyway.
I think it's to do with polygamy in a way. He doesn't look after both his wives. He doesn't like share his love to both of them, and there's like feeling of neglect, and also it doesn't seem normal for the child as well, because the child feels that he hates his own stepmother. And
Tony, you're nodding your head about this. Why?
I kind of see where he's coming from, which is one of the downsides to polygamy, because if you look at it, the dad is not there most of the time to play his fatherly role when you want them, and there's a point where he's trying to be at both places at the same time.
Is this what happened to you as a child?
Pretty much. Yeah. In a polygamous household, the dad is always away, trying to battle both houses. And if he tends to focus on one household, the kids coming up from the second household, they don't have that fatherly figure around to actually control them and play his role to maintain law and order and that kind of thing. Those kids get neglected and they just, get out of hands.
Fatima, what did you want to say?
That's why, in Islam it's allowed, but with very strict conditions. I mean, a man, to be able to do it, it's a huge responsibility on him. He has to treat them both equally, has to spend time equally at both places, treat the children the same. His fortune needs to be split equally between the two. If he follows...
But is that possible?
Yes.
To be absolutely equal?
Yes, you can split your time equally between the children. I mean, if they're the same ages, you can. He can with the wives, one day here, one day there.
Can you split your time equally, Mark, between the two wives?
It's one thing I've got to be very mindful of, and it's something I personally have to keep a check on to make sure that the balance is there. The girls will actually keep me in check as well, because if one starts to feel a little
bit... raised eyebrow.
If one starts to feel a little neglected, they let me know. But it is something that, it's a job. You've got to keep on top of it.
But how can you do that emotionally, sexually? How can you be absolutely fair, totally equal to both parties when they're two different individuals?
I don't think,
even if they're identical twins.
Yeah, I don't think you can be 100% the same with each one, because they're both slightly different. Although they're identical twins, they've got slightly different personalities, different things they like, that sort of thing. There's things that Dorothy and I will do together that Belle's not interested in, photography and things like that. Other things that Belle enjoys doing with me that Dorothy's not interested in. So you split it up in different ways, but you do have to be very mindful that you don't put one in front of the other. And of course, Belle's always going to have the sort of slight feeling, well, I was here first sort of thing. And so you've got to maintain it. There's a maintenance issue.
Do you have that feeling that you were there first?
Yes, of course, after 27 years.
Yeah, well, it's a long time. And how do you feel about that, Dorothy, about her having that 27, 28 years?
I have no jealousy between Belle and Mark or whatever they are doing. For me, I don't feel jealous at all. I'm quite happy. In fact, I feel
How often would you pull him up, though, on... You're spending more time with her than you are with me?
No,
or you're doing...
no, I don't.
No?
No.
There's one thing she does pull me up on. That's if I don't treat Belle properly as she thinks I should treat her.
Yeah.
She'll definitely keep me in line with that. And one of the arguments against these sort of relationships that I've heard from people is that the man has the power. No, they don't. The power shifts. The power definitely shifts, and especially because they're twins, they keep me in line pretty well.
Who has the power in this relationship? Where is the power?
What? I don't know.
Is anyone going to fess up to having any power here?
I don't think it's me anyway.
You don't think it's you? Okay.
Men can handle 4 women, but women cannot handle 4 men.
Who wants to comment on that? You're going to have to take a bit of heat, I think. Tonight we're talking about polygamy and how common it is here in Australia. Iman, I wanted to talk to you because you work with migrant women from a variety of cultural and religious backgrounds every day. Now, how common is polygamy, first of all, in Australia? Very common.
Very common.
And What sort of stories do you hear then from those women that you see every day? What is it working? Is it not working for them? What are the stories?
I see only women who are troubled by it. So they're not going to come and tell me their happy stories. Yeah. They will come with their sad or agony or jealousy or lack of justice or lack of knowledge and lack of awareness of Centrelink rights, their rights in the system, their rights with immigrations, their rights in regards to their children and in the law in Australia in general.
Is it talked about openly? We found it quite difficult getting people to come and talk on this show about their direct experience of polygamy. Like, you know, Mark and Belle and Dorothy are an exception. They're quite happy to talk about it publicly. So. But in general, people aren't.
Yes.
So is there shame associated with it, or?
It's considered as a cultural issue, as a religious issue, as an issue to be talked about within the community. But whenever you say, can you talk to the TV, and I tried many times with my clients, it's, no, it's not encouraged.
Well, that's because the dominant culture here, you know, lauds monogamy and says monogamy is the model of a marriage, and the law does too. It says that monogamy is the model of a marriage.
That's right.
Yeah?
That's right.
Do you talk openly about it? I mean, how have people reacted to your situation?
Surprisingly well. We've had one or two based on religious grounds who have sort of dropped out of our circle of friends. That's their choice. But in general, most of our friends are quite accepting of it.
And when you say on religious grounds, what Christian grounds?
Yes.
You two are Christian, though, yes? Yes. So how do you reconcile that with your faith?
I feel I'm a good Christian because I'm doing what, when I was a child, love was the main thing. That's what I learned from Sunday school anyway. Jesus said love. Love conquers all. And if love is there, you're doing no wrong. I gave my husband and I, we love each other very strongly. And I love my sister very strongly. And we all three of us really, we love each other. So I have no qualms about what I've done. I was able to give happiness to both of them.
Yes, questions, comments, yes.
I have a question for Belle. If she were not your sister, would you be okay with another woman coming in?
The only reason this was able to happen is because she is my identical twin. If she was just a blood sister, no.
If I could just interrupt, I don't think I would have felt this way for anybody else. I'd never strayed, never even looked at another woman. I was not interested. I was perfectly happy the way I was. But when I met Dorothy, the same things that happened with Belle happened in my head, and it all just fell into place.
This is sounding spooky.
It is odd. It is odd. It is odd.
Okay, and have you strayed since, if you don't mind me asking? I mean, has it made you, you know, more inclined to want other wives?
Oh, no, not at all. No, I would never dream of it. This is as far as my interest goes.
You mentioned polygamy to some people, and there's instant disapproval. I wonder how you all feel about polygamy versus an affair or a mistress. How do you view it? Yeah, Bianca.